Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. Well, it saddens me a little bit to talk about Jamal Bryant and Gizelle from the Real Housewives of Potomac. You see, a long time ago when Pastor Jamal Bryant just got started and they were airing his services on the Word Network, I used to watch them and I used to get a lot out of them. However, I got rid of my cable a long time ago, so I really haven't been, keeping up to breast as far as what he's been preaching and teaching and what have you. And I don't really follow him much on YouTube. My own church, local church, they have their own videos that they do on YouTube. So typically on Sunday mornings, I watch them, and I also may watch TD Jakes, but I haven't, scheduled time to jump back in. I notice, I've been seeing that there's been a lot of controversy surrounding him on a number of different topics, which, to be quite honest with you, I don't want to get into. I just want to get into the federal tax lien, because I think that that is something that we can definitely all learn from. It's something that I would like to share with you guys. So in case you don't know, not too long ago, he was hit with a federal tax lien, which was approximately $800,000. It's been accruing for several years now, from 2008 till now. Now, a lot of people just mentioned the Baltimore property, but when I did my little research, I found that he has had liens on both the Baltimore property, which is owned by his parents, and also the Georgia property, not the one that the church gifted him. He has another separate property in Georgia for himself that he bought. So let's talk about this a little bit more. You may say to yourself, well, gee, if the property is owned by his parents, why is he getting the federal tax lien? Well, I did look up the deeds and I didn't really see, I did like one of those quick searches, and I saw his parents' name, but I didn't see his name on it. So it's possible that it is in a trust for him. Then there were other people who questioned whether or not Gizelle would be held responsible. Gizelle, I remember in an older episode saying that whatever liens he has, she would not be responsible for them. That may be the case. Again, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an accountant, but if, let's say, the parents set up some sort of trust and there's some sort of stipulation that says that, it goes to the children and then to the grandchildren, then no, Gizelle would not have any responsibility towards this, because you have to remember, also, Gizelle and Jamal, they got divorced in 2009. These liens have started since 2008. Also, let's say that was not in place at all and there was nothing to protect her. The thing is, if she were to be responsible, I believe she may only have to be responsible for the $302,000 on the Baltimore property, not on the other properties that he purchased after divorcing her, because there's also, I see a lien on the Georgia property as well. And I didn't add them all up to make sure, that the numbers, because I didn't want to go down that particular rabbit hole, but let's just say he owes a whole lot of money. Okay. And just know that even though the laws in, Baltimore are one way and in Atlanta are another way, that doesn't necessarily mean that that it's the same in other states. Okay, so when you're marrying somebody, you want to definitely know a little bit about their finances before you tie the knot. And then even after you marry them, you may want to incorporate some sort of checks and balances so that if they do anything on their part, it doesn't hurt you as an individual. And I do believe that either way, see, I'm thinking because it's the parents' home primarily, the one in Baltimore, I'm thinking that Gizelle really doesn't have anything to worry about, but Gizelle should get an attorney. I definitely recommend that. And she probably should also mention this to her accountant, or if she has a tax attorney, she probably should let someone know. But I honestly, I'm not sure, but I don't think she is in trouble at this particular point. And if she is, it would not be after 2009. It would only be, for whatever happened in 2008, like I said, because that was when the first lien came through, right? Now, you may want to say to yourself, okay, well, what do tax liens do? Because I'm finding that a lot of people don't know what tax liens are. Tax liens are when you don't pay your taxes. And when you don't pay your taxes, the IRS can put a lien against your house. When they do this, it does prevent, in the states of Georgia and Maryland, it prevents you from selling. In other states, it doesn't necessarily prevent you from selling. There are people that will still sell a home with the lien. That's why you should always do your due diligence and always run a title search. Pay that extra money. Do not skip that step, because some people will sell you a house with the lien and it'll transfer over to you some kind of way, so just be mindful of that. The IRS wants their money. And even though you may pay that person that caused that lien to be on the property, they may not take that money and pay that lien off. That's why you want to do that title search. All right. The other thing is that when you have a lien on your home, a lot of times banks will not refinance. Now, right now is not really the greatest time to refinance anyway, but you never know what could happen years down the line. In case you do want to or need to, they're not going to do it at all. All right. So one of the things I recommend to sort of avoid such situations is this. If you find yourself in any financial difficulty, you really should talk to your bank. And you should ask them for a forbearance or some sort of deferment if you still have mortgage on the property, because they will not help you. A lot of times they won't help you once that tax lien is put in place. You see, here's the thing. Tax liens have first position, top priority. They have to be paid off. Second position is the bank, the mortgage that they have on your property. That's what it typically is in most states. Okay. There are other states that have other liens, but typically taxes are first, mortgages are second. So when a tax lien is placed on your property, a red flag goes up to the bank. The bank knows that they can lose out on their investment, right? And because once it goes to the tax auction and it's sold like that, a lot of times they don't get their mortgage money back. So what they do is they'll go ahead and pay your taxes, and then they'll add that money that they paid to the end of your mortgage and count that as added mortgage. So let's say, for example, that you took out a mortgage for $200,000 on a property, but a tax lien was placed on your property for $50,000. What they'll do now is that instead of you owing 200, you'll owe 250,000. That's how that's going to go. Now, let's say, because a lot of times when people do not pay the taxes, sometimes they don't pay the mortgage. Well, typically, if your mortgage is late for like 3 months, the bank is going to foreclose on you. So they'll pay the tax lien, but they're going to take away your house. So they'll do that before the government does, so that they can get the money themselves. Okay, that's how it typically works. It doesn't always go down like that, obviously, but many times that's how things go. So that's why you definitely that's another reason why you want to speak to your bank first if you are having any financial difficulty. Don't say, oh, I think I can work this out. I can do this. I can do that. Work extra hours, whatever. No, as soon as you run into some financial mess of any sort, go to your banker and speak to your banker. The next person, definitely speak to your accountant. See what can be done, if there's a payment plan that can be put in place for your taxes, or, whatever else it is that you owe, deferment, forbearance. Speak to them first to try to avoid this, because once that lien is put in place, a lot of times they're like, oh no, we're not going to refinance. We're not going to help you out. That's how they are. Okay. So I wanted you guys to really think about that and keep that in mind. Another question that some people were asking was, well, how is it that he's like so far behind on taxes? I really don't know. I really can't explain that. I don't know the details of that, to be quite honest with you. However, I've never been that late. Actually, I've never been late on taxes, come to think about it. However, I am finding myself in a situation where I underestimated how much money my business was going to make. I made way more than expected. And even though I made more, I thought that I was going to get a refund. Well, lo and behold, guys, I did not get a refund this year. I have to pay taxes. So I kind of get it, how something like this can happen. Now, I'm not going to let 10 years go by. I'm going to pay this off as quickly as possible, but I kind of understand a little bit what may have happened. And Pastor Jamal Bryant, when I was going through his records, he owns a lot of businesses. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know he had so much going on, and it can be hard to keep up with one business, but when you get into as many as he has, it's like, whoa, okay, that might be the issue. I'm pretty sure he's not alone. I'm pretty sure he has, other employees. And then let's talk about when you start hiring people, whether they're contractors or employees, sometimes they make mistakes and you got to pay for those mistakes, unfortunately, right? So those things are a possibility. Another situation is, I've shared with you guys before that I own property in Georgia. Okay. Actually, I'm doing a private lending situation on this third house that I have in Georgia. But for the first two, I did a quit claim deed. All right, so as soon as we bought that property, I had my project manager go and he registered the deed at the county recorder's office, right? So that was all set and dandy. Then my lawyer said, you got to contact the tax assessor's office. So I did that, and they told me, well, it takes a little over a year for that to be processed. So I was like, okay, And then about a year or so went by and I didn't hear anything. So I decided to give them a call. And by that time, I found out that I was behind. And they were saying that they were going to put a lien on my properties. And I was like, what? What? So I got upset, called the office, and I found that what they did was they had my name down, but they also had the previous owner down on my properties. They mailed the bill, the tax bill information, to the previous owner instead of mailing it to me. So I said, okay, I need to know who my lawyer needs to talk to because I never got it. I called, it's recorded, and I don't think this is fair, right? So needless to say, my lawyer actually didn't need to speak to anyone. They realized their mistake. They told me I did not have to pay any penalties. All I needed to do was pay the taxes for the year. And then they went back and they corrected it. And I called again several months later. I called actually like 2 or 3 weeks later. I sent the mail. Actually, no, I paid online. And I called them to make sure they got it. Then I called several weeks later to make sure everything was updated because I was really pissed off that it was still in the other person's name, the previous person's name, and not mine. Because me and the previous lady, we don't get along at all. Okay? So, yes, sometimes mistakes are made and you gotta really be on top of people. Even if you have a good team, you gotta make the phone calls yourself because guess what? Nobody cares about your business as much as you care about your business. That's what I'm finding. And it is definitely not a cakewalk when you are a business owner. And I think I speak for everybody, whether they are in real estate or they are not in real estate. This is no easy feat. So guys, that's all I have for you for tonight. Hopefully the information that I've shared will help you make smart financial moves. Feel free to share this. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.